you beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get into it. Let's see who's in here. D Major, Reppin' Magazine, Claudette, Anita Harrell, We the People, Truth Brown, okay, 504 Nola, Gregory, Emperor Rex. Let's get into it. Lillian X. All right, the infamous Mortimer, Classy and Fabulous. Okay. G from the Land, Love Christie, Reggie's Nefarious Self is here. All right, Cookie. C Bongil or Bongil. I hope I said that right. Okay, so let's get into it. Dr. T is here. All right, Desmond. Shout out to all my loyal roles, everyone tuning into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, I see you, Alice, beloved. So let's get ready to get into it. Let Mott is here. Paul is here. Coco Marshmallows, Danielle. Okay, so that I've been said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor. I see you, Darren. Let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Okay, let's get into it. Now, here's the thing. In the case of Carmelo Anthony, I think it's very important that we have a conversation afterwards to just talk about hostilities, the hate that's being spewed, talk about how we feel as a people seeing this travesty of justice. Okay, at the end of the day, Carmelo's lawyers threw him to the wolves. Okay, that's what they did. They threw him to the wolves. They absolutely did not do a good job. We know they didn't. Okay, an amateur attorney, a defense, I mean, not defense, but a public defender could have done a better job than they did. And you know that it was purposely done for the simple fact that his attorney, when I looked him up yesterday, I told you all, he has been nominated or voted as the best criminal defense attorney in Dallas every year since 2016. So we know that this man has the capabilities. We know that he is absolutely competent. But the bottom line is, a lot of people are saying that, in fact, uh, Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, and the judge and the prosecutor were all friends. And we should also know that Carmelo Anthony's attorney is also their friend. Okay, he services the Frisco, Collin County area, as well as where his office is located in Dallas, which is just about 30 minutes away. With that all being said, he's familiar with these people. He's worked with them before, I'm sure, both in opposition and maybe in some other capacity before he was a criminal defense attorney. Who knows? But the bottom line is, many white people are just talking trash, trying to stoke, racial tensions, trying to provoke Black people. They're just trying to do a lot of things. And I want Black people to be very careful how you address these situations. Don't find yourself in the same seat that Carmelo Anthony just sat in, because we see how the law works. And, I do believe that this is going to embolden more white people, because they saw and know, they've already known it, but this is even more of a confirmation for them that they can attack us, harass us, bother us, follow us around, obsessing over us. And then if we fatally defend ourselves against them, they know we're going to go to prison. So with that all being said, that's going to make them more emboldened, because they're going to know that many Black people are going to not feel or going to be too concerned about going to prison to bother them. Okay, that's just what I'm getting. Now, all Black people are like that. I can tell you that for sure. But I'm saying there are some Black people that are like that. They're not going to want any drama or any trouble. And so they are going around gloating. And I find it interesting, because what's funny about any of this? They're so excited, they can rarely contain themselves. Now, mind you, I'm definitely not talking about all white people, but I'm talking about the MAGA white people. We know who the MAGA white people are. They're all the same. Okay, those are the white people I'm talking about, because there are some white people who have empathy and who, in fact, have reached out to help Carmelo Anthony's family. Okay, we'll get into that momentarily. But so let's talk about this Fox for Dallas Fort Worth news report. Now, I don't really like Fox News. I know we don't, but I want to hear what they have to say following the verdict and the sentencing. Okay, I think we need to hear what these people are saying. And then we'll talk about their obsession with us. Why they just can't seem to get over it. Even when they get a win, I mean, we clearly had to take a L. Okay, we clearly had to take a L, okay? But hold on. Let me go to some of these comments. DSB, hey beloved, thank you for being a member, okay, for 21 months. I appreciate you. Now, with that all being said, I saw someone's comment that I wanted to address. Oh, really? The infamous Marty Mar says Cardi B is going to pay $5 million for his attorney appeal. Okay, well, that's good, because no celebrities have really spoken out. And I was talking about that to someone yesterday. But let me say this. When they appeal, I hope they don't keep that same darn attorney. Now, this white guy who has spoken out, and he basically asked us to send him their information, Carmelo Anthony's family's information, so he could help them. Okay, and so he's already gotten the paperwork filed. I mean, not filed. Technically, the lawyer has to do it, but he's already gotten it typed up, is what I'm saying. He's already typed it up. So I'm just saying, I saw somebody look like they said all white people are racist. Well, I don't think all white people are racist. That's just me. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think that all white people do benefits from the system. That is a wanton supremacist system. I think they all do also benefit from racism. Whether they're racist or not, they benefit from racism because that's what upholds the system. Okay, so a government and a culture of wanton supremacy, and I don't call it white supremacy because they're not superior or supreme. Now, before we get into it, I want to talk about this situation where they have found a burning cross. Now, I honestly did expect them to burn crosses if Karmelo was not, if he was acquitted. Okay, I wasn't expecting these devils to burn crosses even though they got a win. But that's exactly what they've done. They've burned a cross, at least in one place. It's been reported in the middle of Grant Park. Okay, let's get into it. These people are absolutely nefarious. And I want you all to pay attention because they want to make us angry and provoke you. But please don't get angry with these people because when you really think about how nonsensical they are, how they're so obsessed with us, how they just have to try to place themselves purposely in close proximity to us, even though they don't like us. It is absolutely something that needs to be studied. Oh, that's right. It has been studied. Okay, a racist person has a specific type of brain. We'll talk about it. Okay, so that all being said, let's go to this video. Likes up, everyone. Please hit that like button. It's very important that you like the video. Thank you in advance.
We spent about 3 hours investigating this cross burning earlier tonight. Right now, they have not stated if they have anyone in custody, why it happened, and more importantly, who is behind it. But the sight of a cross burning in this public park stirred up so many emotions and left people in shock.
In 2026, we are burning crosses.
The flames from this cross burning in the middle of Grant Park visible for anyone coming down Columbus Drive. It left this mother and daughter in pure disbelief.
How did this happen? Like, I'm sure the people walking past saw someone walking down the street with a cross, sit it up there, and then light a fire to it. I'm surprised there wasn't more people watching this.
The mother and daughter were driving near Grant Park. They did not see who started it, but they say it stirred up so many emotions.
I know that my grandmothers and great-grandmothers and grandfathers have experienced in real time, in real life in the South. So immediately I just felt sad.
It's very hurting because it's just like, even in schools, they make it seem like things like that were so long ago and we're making so much progress, and we're clearly not. There is no progress because it's clearly happening to this day in broad daylight.
Chicago police have not said much about this incident. We tried to figure out if it was racial, as the act implies.
This was something that was used against Black people in the South.
Or if this is connected with someone with mental issues. Either way, the mother and daughter say seeing this cross burning in such a public place should upset just about everyone by the gesture, and not to mention the safety aspect too.
That could have got really out of control. They could have caught fire to all those trees over there, and everyone in the area people could have suffered.
The tree trunk the cross was leaning against was torched, along with some burnt leaves. Those flames thankfully did not spread. We know CFD was called to put out the fire, and as police work on a true motive, they're hoping it wakes everyone up.
This is how things start. It starts from a distance and it gets closer and closer and closer and closer, and then you are in flames.
And tonight, we don't know how long this cross was burning here in Grant Park, or if the person carried it down the street or built it here in the park. All questions Chicago police are looking into tonight.
Over 50 and dreading the first step out of bed? Watch this.
Now, as you can see, as we can see from listening to that report, the devils are in full effect. And it always surprises me, or always gets me, shall I say, when Black people seem so surprised that these things are still happening in 2026. What are they talking about? We should not be surprised that it's still happening in 2026. They just found a Black man swinging from a tree months ago. Okay, so why are we surprised that they're burning crosses in 2026? They're still lynching Black people in 2026. Okay, they're still giving us all white juries in 2026. Now, some people say, oh, it's not an all white jury. Well, it absolutely is. And we had the Asians, the Middle Easterns, or whatever on there. But these people identify themselves as white. Okay, collectively, that's what they do. We know their ethnicity. Okay, but white is a race, not an ethnicity. So they identify their race as white. You all do know that, right? You all do know that, right? So, because some people say, oh, it's not an all-white jury. It technically is an all-white jury. Okay, that's exactly what it was. Now, with that being said, I want to hear this Fox News report that came after the sentencing, because I want to hear what the devils have to say. Like I said, I know they're probably going to be gloating and gleeful and all of that. Okay, some of you are saying, exactly, Queen, okay? True Blessing said it feels like we're living in Jim Crow. We are. We are, beloved, absolutely. But see, this is the thing. I told you all that. I told you all that. I've been telling you all that they're taking us back to Jim Crow. Look at it. They literally gutted the Voting Rights Act. Key piece of legislation. Okay, they're taking away our rights right in front of our faces. They're playing in our faces. We just took 2 L's as the Black community. The Rick Child verdict, a Black child at the age of 14 murdered for no good reason. He wasn't stealing anything, but he's killed. The killer gets off free, and then the child is demonized and vilified, okay, by the non-Black community collectively. Because it wasn't just Asians talking trash about the child. Okay, it was also racist white people, and they don't even have a dog in the fight. But clearly, any opportunity or chance they get to go in on a Black person and talk down on a Black person and vilify a Black boy or Black man, they're going to do so. That's the consensus, and that's just what it is. Nothing we can do about them. What we need to focus on is what we can and what we are going to do about us. Okay? That's what we need to be focused on. That's right. Reggie said that's their natural. Exactly. It's in the fiber of their DNA. This is just who they are. You know, like me and my man were talking the other night, and we were talking about people's mindsets. People's mindsets don't tend to change after they're adults. Okay. People that are let me say for specific things. People that are racist and that's embedded in them, that's what they've always been, especially if they just are so jealous of Black people, because that's what racism is to me. Racism exists because there are some people that are jealous of other people for no reason other than who these people are, whether it's your skin color, your hair, your eyes, whatever. But these people clearly are jealous of Black people. This is why they can't leave us alone. If you think about somebody who's hating on you, okay, I know all of us probably have at least one hater. When you think about people that hate on you, you don't have to do anything to them for them to hate you. Because I hear some Black people saying, well, why do they hate us so much? They don't need a reason. They just do. They hate us because we exist. Racist white people specifically, and I say them specifically because there's other groups of racist people that don't like us, but they just mind their business unless we're in their space or there's some type of confrontation or whatever. They'll follow us around their stores. That's why we shouldn't go to them. See, if we don't put ourselves in close proximity to them, we'll have less dealings with them because we're not the ones following them around. It's the other way around with these white folk. Okay, so but at the end of the day, the thing about the white racist person is they feel so obligated, like it's their duty, their job, like they're being paid a fee to go around and let us know that they have disdain for us. They have to let us know. They can't simply mind their own white business and just be racist over there and let us exist over here. No, no, no. They have to come walking over. Hey, Black people, we don't like y'all. Why are y'all here? If y'all don't like it, go back to Africa. Ha! When their ancestors literally brought our ancestors here, some of us anyway. Okay, I find it also interesting. Like, it's so pathetic and sad. But again, like I said, let's go to this Fox News report. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining, if nothing else. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Breaking news tonight, a Collin County jury has just sentenced Karmelo Anthony to 35 years in prison for the murder of Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet. More reaction from the trial and the emotional victim impact statements.
This verdict sends a clear message. Violence like this won't be tolerated in our Collin County community, and we remain committed to protecting our schools and standing with victims and their families.
Strong emotions outside the courtroom all day long.
Now, I want you to pay attention to how he said that. We'll remain committed to protecting our schools and this and that. He's acting like he's speaking, and the way he's talking, it sounds as though he's speaking on a school shooter. They don't even give these type of arguments or these type of conferences and saying these sort of things when it's literally a school shooter. Okay? That's what they don't do. Now, the police may get out there and say something, but what I'm saying is the school administrators and officials, superintendents, they don't get out there and say a darn thing. But the way they're talking is like he was such a thug. Austin was the thug. Okay, if truth be told. Sorry he lost his life, but at the end of the day, if he wasn't acting like the thug that he was, he'd still be here. Until somebody else took him out, because I'm sure he would have continued on his nefarious route. I mean, this is the same kid who beat up his own father. Okay, but let's continue.
As the verdict came down and the sentencing happened, what our crew saw and heard today in McKinney.
Here for you, the news leader, Fox 4.
A Collin County jury sentences Karmelo Anthony to 35 years in prison for the murder.
Let me just say, Shoshana says that's why there will be no reparations from them. They know we're smarter, stronger, and creative. We'd show them up and they can't have that. Exactly. Finally, someone who gets it. This is what I've been saying to you all. This is what I be saying to you all. When I say these people are never going to give us reparations. Now, some of y'all act like, oh, she's talking against reparations. No, I want reparations too. I'm owed them just as well as every other Black person in this country. But the bottom line is these are the same people who allow the Klan to still exist under the guise of a Christian organization. These are the same people who dismantled and framed, murdered, and all of the above the Black Panther Party for self-defense. All they were doing was defending their own people from police brutality, trying to keep rugs off the streets of their own community. And because of them and their efforts, they created the WIC program to help mothers with their children so their children could eat. They started the free breakfast program. They were doing good things in the community, but they were not allowed to exist and thrive. But the Klan is. The Klan has murdered people, lynched people. They have bombed churches with children in them. They still exist till this day, doing the exact same things that they've always done, burning a cross, just today. So with that all being said, we know that it just is what it is. These people are who they are, and we should never be surprised about anything they do. Okay? And then when we say they're taking us back to Jim Crow, if I'm being honest with myself, we never left Jim Crow. Because the same things that we're doing back then, they're still doing them now. They just call it something different. For example, when they would have the stores or the businesses where they were hiring and they wanted to be known they don't hire Black people, they would put up signs that said whites only or whites hired only. They still do that. They just don't put up the sign that says whites hired only. What they do is when you turn in your resume, if you have a Black sounding name like Lakeisha, Tanisha, Ahmadiyyah, they're not going to hire you sometimes. They train them that on the job. We've heard cases where people have sued because of it. So that's what they do. If they tell you at a job, specifically corporate America, that you can't come to work with afros, twists, braids, Bantu knots, or any of those styles that are natural for our hair, that's them saying, we don't want you here. And the only Black people that they'll allow to work in those spaces when they do are the ones that conform to what they want them to be. Okay, other than that, it's a wrap. And if you notice, in corporate America, there are more gay Black men than heterosexual Black men. And that's all by design because, see, white men are not typically threatened by gay Black men. They're more threatened by the masculine Black man. Okay, and I'm not saying that some gay men don't act masculine, but I'm just saying when they know that a black man's gay, they feel less threatened by him, and that's just the facts. They also feel less threatened by lighter skinned black people, specifically black men. Now, not to say that black men, if you're light skinned, they're not going to mess with you. Of course they will. But for some reason, us dark skinned people are the most nefarious to everybody. I don't know why. I guess because we're so black. I don't know. But that's just how it goes. Okay, even amongst ourselves, there's black people that are colorist. Okay, because they look at darker skinned black people differently. So feel like they're better than us or something. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And we just all need to accept the hand that we've been dealt and just figure out amongst ourselves what we're going to do about it. I vote for staying the hell away from them and teaching your children to stay the hell away from them. That's what you should do. As far as I'm concerned. Okay, you should teach your children about racism and how these people move and how they can be snakes in the grass. And that sometimes sugar, not sometimes, all the time, sugar and salt look just alike. So by the time you're friends with one and find out they're the wrong type or whatever, it might be too late. Because until the children get of age like us, where they can discern and they have a better judgment, I don't think they need to be hanging around these people. I don't. I don't think they need to be hanging around their kids. I don't think they need to be spending nights at their houses. I don't think they need to be going anywhere where they're the only black person with a bunch of them. I don't. Now, some people will say that's racist. The people that don't look like me, they'll say that's racist. It is not. It's precaution. Okay? We have to take precaution with our children. They don't have to, because we're not going around harassing their children. You would not see, okay, a black teen walk up to a white kid that's just minding their white business and just start going in on them, telling them, you got to move, you got to get up. You don't see stuff like that happen. Now, I'm not going to say it's never happened. There are some black people who are nefarious, but I'm just saying collectively, overall, you don't see those things. You don't see us stopping them when they're getting on the elevator of a building. Excuse me, sir, can I see your ID? Are you here to see somebody? Do you live here? Where do you live? Yeah, I need to see your paperwork. Who do they think they are? But they try to police black bodies because they feel entitled to. They still have that same mentality as their ancestors who were slave owners. But these are the first people that'll tell you, oh, I've never owned a slave. Nobody in my family ever owned slaves. Of course, people in your family owned slaves. Okay, and they got paid reparations for it when slavery ended. But at the end of the day, they are their ancestors. Okay, most of them are absolutely their nefarious ancestors, and you need to realize that if you don't already. Okay, but let's continue. Just Anticipate said, Queen, did you hear that Carlos Brown Jr. is now incompetent? Reported yesterday. No. Who is the Carlos Brown anyway? I don't even know who that is, beloved. Thank you for that information and your insight into the topic and your contribution. Who is the Carlos Brown? Let me see here. Oh, the guy that killed the woman on the train. I just didn't know his name. Okay, I reported on this story if I'm not mistaken. Well, I already knew he was mentally incompetent. That was obvious. That was obvious to us. At least most of us, I would think. It was only the devils, the MAGA crew, who were saying that, and Elon Musk, who's MAGA also, by the way, but it was only them pushing this narrative that, oh, this black man came up, just killed this white lady for nothing. I knew he had mental illness. That was a given for me because we don't just go around doing that 9 times out of 10. I'm not going to say that some of us don't, but you don't understand what I'm saying. Usually when you see something like that with a black person, there's some sort of mental illness there. Because we don't just go around committing hate crimes. That's what they do. That's why they have hate groups. And they would love to try to say that we're just as hateful as them, but we're not. Because if we are, they probably wouldn't still even exist. Yikes. Okay, and I'm being very serious. If we were just as hateful as them, I don't think they would longer exist. I just don't. Okay, but we can never be as nefarious as them because we actually have souls. Okay, we actually have humanity about ourselves. Okay, we're not just going around being hateful and taking out our frustrations and anger on them because we're miserable. That's what they do. Racist people are always miserable. I don't care if they're a rich racist person, they could be a billionaire. Okay, money clearly doesn't make them happy. These racist people are always miserable. They want to go around and exude that, put that on somebody else, specifically us, because they don't like us. If you're happy with yourself and happy with your life, you don't have time to be following other people around. You don't have time to be walking around here hateful and trying to taunt people, trying to provoke people, just being hostile and being a bully. You don't have time to do any of that. Austin Metcalf was miserable. Why was he miserable? Well, he was miserable because, first of all, he had an unhealthy home life. I know they love to paint that picture for us, but that's the picture for many of them too. He had an unhealthy home life. He had a dad who would beat his mom. He had a dad who was accused of being an offender. He had a dad whom he put hands on. I'm sure if he put his hands on him, it was for a reason. There had to be some sort of hostilities between the two. They couldn't have had such a good, loving father-son relationship as they would love to portray it in the media. So there's that. Okay, then he'd gotten kicked off the track team. The coach said that he sent them there that day to be a leader or whatever. I don't think the coach sent him that message, text him that to say that. I think they came up with that just to make it so that we couldn't say that Austin wasn't supposed to be there, because that's what they wanted to portray about Melo, that he wasn't supposed to be there, that nobody offered him a seat, that nobody told him he could be there, that they told him to leave 15 times. You really think that they told him to leave 15 times? I don't believe that. I think that he came and sat down. They were having a conversation. Sports came up. And he started talking about their football team being trash. Okay? And they got mad, specifically Austin, because his coach had already told him that he played crappy that year, that he had a bad year and played like crap. And now somebody that doesn't go to your school, maybe even a rival school, is telling you that y'all are crap. That infuriated him. That's when he started talking about, you got to go. Okay, or Hunter. Hunter was the first one that said something. Pay attention to how they kept Hunter out of this whole thing. Didn't even testify. Okay, I find it all interesting, but let's continue.
Murder of Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet in Frisco. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. This sentencing came just hours after the jury handed down a guilty verdict for murder. The trial began last week, and jurors heard from coaches and high school students who witnessed Metcalf's death. The story also made international headlines, and many people locally have been sharing passionate opinions. Tonight, supporters of both Anthony and Metcalf.
Hold on. Blessed child of Yah said the son did that murder. The father took the charge. You must be talking about Rick Chow, beloved. Yeah, you're talking about the Rick Chow verdict. I absolutely believe that's plausible. I absolutely believe that's plausible. Absolutely. Because one thing I was thinking, and that's a very good point, okay? But I'm going to tell you why I was specifically thinking that. And thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. But the main reason I was thinking that is because I kept asking y'all. Y'all remember I said, how was that man, Rick Chow, who was like 61? He was like 61 years old. How was he able to run that far? How's he running that far? The length of a football field. Like, how's he running that far at his age and keeping up with his son so that they both approach this young child at the same time or in close proximity to each other? That absolutely sounds more plausible that the son shot him and the father took the charge. And in Asian culture, that's absolutely something that they would absolutely do. So that's definitely a very good point, beloved. Thank you for that.
Gathered outside the courthouse, sometimes even yelling at each other. Our crews saw one person appear to be taken into custody earlier this evening before the sentencing came down. And moments ago, prosecutors spoke to the media with the Metcalf family by their side.
Today, justice was served. A year ago, when this senseless murder unfolded, I said that it had struck a deep nerve in Collin County and far beyond. I asked our community to ignore all the noise and instead be level-headed and patient as the process worked. And today, the process delivered accountability. We are grateful to this jury And we're grateful that the good citizens of Collin County had an opportunity to weigh in on this case. I'm proud of the exceptional work of Bill Werski and our team of prosecutors, DA investigators, and victim advocates, and all the good and outstanding men and women of the Collin County District Attorney's Office. We thank all the parents and their brave kids who did the right thing. Despite the trauma of witnessing the senseless murder at a school track meet, they cooperated fully and testified truthfully. Their courage was essential to securing justice in this case. I'm especially honored to be joined here today by Jeff and Megan Metcalf and their son Hunter. Their strength and grace through this has been their strength and grace throughout this unimaginable journey has been inspiring. They won't be taking questions at this time, but their presence here speaks volumes about their commitment to seeking justice for Austin. I want to thank Judge Rhodes for presiding over this trial with fairness and efficiency. I want to thank Frisco PD for their investigation. I want to thank the Collin County Sheriff's Office led by Sheriff Skinner for providing the security for the courthouse. I want to thank all law enforcement throughout the county for making this a safe trial for everyone. This verdict sends a clear message. Violence like this won't be tolerated in our Collin County community, and we remain committed to protecting our schools and standing with victims and their families.
That's Collin County District Attorney we just heard from. Fox 4's Amelia Jones has been outside the court.
Let me tell you all something. I'm gonna let this play in a second, but let me tell you something. Dialogue said, looks like a lynch mob. Trisha says, why is she holding him like that? LL said, all of them should feel guilty. Hold on. Says all of them should feel guilty of their lies, having Anthony in jail where he should not be. Honey, they don't feel the least bit guilty. Okay? Somebody said Hunter killed Austin. Rich said this will sit in the back of their minds. This chat's moving quickly. Hold on. This will sit in the back of their minds, and he will most likely become an alcoholic and a user. You know, I'm glad you said that, Reggie. I was just about to say that. Reggie, do you notice how me and you absolutely be on the same wavelength so many times? Listen, that's what I was about to say. Hunter Metcalf is going to be traumatized by this, not because of what Karmelo did, but because of what he did. We say he's the catalyst that led to his brother's demise. He's the one who initiated contact with Karmelo in the first place. Now, they didn't say that in the trial, but they didn't have to, because we all saw the interview. I brought it back to you all's attention. We all saw the interview when Hunter said we got into a little altercation. And then he admitted that he was the one that was talking to Karmelo first. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said his brother would always take up for him and defend him whether he was right or wrong. He said, and then, at one point he said, and then Austin threw his backpack. Hunter was the one close to Karmelo. Austin had to travel up like 5 rows of the bleachers to get to him. Hunter didn't want to testify because of his guilt, for one, and for two, couldn't keep his story straight because he already said something different in the interviews than what they would have wanted him to say in court. In the interview, he said that Austin threw his backpack. Well, that goes against what all of the witnesses said, because each of them said, as they were coached to say clearly, that the entire time Karmelo had his hand inside of his backpack, like he's just sitting there waiting with the blade already unfolded, ready to stab him. When in fact, the people who saw the video said something different. And the bottom line is, Karmelo was sitting there minding his own black business, sitting there. 4 people towering over him, starting mess. Okay? Blessed Child of Yah said 80% of them NPCs are NPCs and soulless. You know, lately people have absolutely been saying that they're NPCs. Thank you, beloved, for your insight to the topic and contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
House all afternoon and evening, sometimes tense, sometimes quiet. Amelia, what have you been seeing overall?
Hi there, Steve. Well, let's start with when the jury actually got the case. So the jury started deliberations at 10:52 this morning and deliberated through lunch, returning a verdict just before 2 p.m. The jury spent a total of 3 hours deliberating and returned the verdict guilty of murder. I was outside the courthouse when that verdict was returned. You could hear some gasps from the large crowd that had gathered outside, some outcries, and some people simply stayed silent, just processing the information. The jury then headed right into the punishment phase of the trial. They heard from 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony's mom. She was the only one who took the stand in the punishment phase, and she pleaded with the jury for mercy. The jury spent a total of 2 hours and 20 minutes deliberating the sentence. The jury sentenced Karmelo Anthony to 35 years in prison with the eligibility for parole after half the time served, which would be about 17 and a half years, the age of Austin Metcalf when he was killed. When the sentence came down.
Now I want you all to pay attention to what she just said. Okay, I want you all to pay attention to what she just said. Sentenced to 35 years, and he'll be eligible for parole in about 17 years, the same age Austin was when he died. You see what they do is when they win something, when they have some sort of award or whatever, and they have an accomplishment of victory, they always have some sort of symbolic gesture included. Do you all notice that? That was symbolic. Okay. That was not, just happenstance.
People swarmed in large groups, many live streaming reactions of others on their cell phones. Some were very upset, visibly crying and talking about it. Others told me they believe justice was served with that sentence. After the victim impact statements, Karmelo Anthony's family, including his parents, walked out of the courtroom and into their cars. A large group of people and media swarming them as they made their way to their vehicles. There were some very strong words of emotion exchanged. We saw Anthony's mom hold up a heart in the window as well. Then just about 15 minutes ago, we saw the Metcalf family leave the courthouse. Emotions still running high from those who were here in the parking lot. Sheriff deputies helped them to their car. Now it's just media that's left as the Collin County Sheriff's Office is working to clear the parking lot. And again, media was allowed to stay here. A lot to digest.
Let me say something in response to a comment that I just saw. I blocked the person, Anthony somebody. He said the trash ghetto culture is a cancer. Well, I agree. I absolutely agree. But Karmelo Anthony was not ghetto trash. Was. Okay, Austin was ghetto. You see, ghetto is a mindset. It's not a race or an ethnicity. It's a mindset. So anyone of any race or ethnic group can be ghetto. Okay. And so with that all being said, you're absolutely right. I agree that the ghetto trash culture is a cancer. And you know what's ghetto trash culture? It is people who go around with hate in their hearts, trying to keep up mess with other people who are not bothering them. Okay, whether it's a gang member looking for the rival gang, okay, whether it's a racist, low vibrational, demonic person looking for someone who's the opposite race that they can't stand to start trouble with them. Either way, it's ghetto. Simply kept his hands to himself. Nene says they think he should have done what Austin told him to do. Of course they do. That's what they always do. They have a sense of entitlement. Like I said, they want to police Black bodies. And they want to feel like they get to, tell us what to do, just like their ancestors told our ancestors what to do in slavery. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Okay? With that all being said, only trump card poor white person uses is at least I'm white. So delusional. Yeah, that is. That's all they need. That's all they need. Moderators, please ban the trolls. If you see anyone trolling, ban them. Do not put them in no darn timeout. We don't time out trolls. We ban them. Okay? Anybody saying something that's not a troll, you can put them in a timeout or whatever. But And by that, I mean the royals. Okay, melanated royalty says the Metcalfs were the definition of ghetto. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to get into it. Okay. Lieutenant Muxworth says they're very symbolic. Even the CIA has been known to do their dirt while using much symbology. Exactly. Exactly. Now, with that all being said, let's get back into this. Sheila says, facts, queen, anybody can be ghetto. Exactly. I mean, it wasn't it Elvis who sang the song about a little baby child born in the ghetto. Clearly he knew. Clearly he knew all about it. The song was about himself. It was him. He was ghetto. Song that he sang. Okay, he married a 14-year-old when he was like 24. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's get back into this report because I really want to go to these videos where people are giving their thoughts on the verdict and the sentence.
This very long day wraps up. For now, though, Steve, I will send it back to you.
That's Amelia Jones reporting from McKinney. Amelia, thank you. So Fox 4's Lori Brown has been our only reporter inside the courtroom all day for the dramatic moments. She heard the emotional victim impact statements. Lori, we're counting on you to tell us how all of that was for you today and tonight.
Steve, the emotion of this full trial really finally was able to be released in the victim impact statements as 4 of Austin Metcalf's family members finally released from a gag order, finally able to express themselves. The impact statements happen after the jury's verdict, after the defendant is formally sentenced. So these statements are really just a chance for the victims to face the defendant and be able to let all of these things out. So the mom, Megan Metcalf, gave a very emotional but strong statement as she faced Karmelo Anthony, telling him how she used to have a house filled with energetic 2 boys full of laughter, and now her house is quiet and the laughter has been turned to screams, and all she has of her son Austin's voice is her memory and videos of him speaking, and how emotional it is seeing his identical twin brother in his room every day. And she talked about the morning that she had given them breakfast and packed their snacks, and she got the big bear hug from Austin. Certainly emotional moments in that courtroom as she told these things, and she made this statement: "You have been given a sentence of 35 years. You should feel lucky. I have been sentenced to a lifetime without my son." Next to take the stand was Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff. He had a video up playing photos of his son, Austin, over the years, many of them with his brother who was there in the courtroom also. And he talks about their faith helping them to get through this, but also he came to a shout telling Karmelo Anthony, "We were robbed, and to suffer such a loss is tragic," and how this whole ordeal has just taken a part of himself, and he is not the same person anymore. And he said that his son's death didn't just change who he is, but it destroyed the person who he used to be. And then it was very impactful as Hunter took the stand. We did not hear from him during the trial, as many were expecting, and he took a very respectful tone. The father of Austin Metcalf had really pointed out that he wanted Karmelo Anthony to look him in the eyes, and Hunter did the same thing, asking in a polite way that he would really appreciate it if he would look at him as he had his statements for him. And he said that you still have air while my brother is 6 feet under. But he went on to say that his brother's legacy will continue to live on. The family later appeared in that news conference that we showed you, but they chose not to take any questions tonight. Stephen, Heather.
Understood.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I was muted. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. Now let's go to some of these videos of what people had to say when they shared their thoughts and views. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
crazy just happened. There are two kids that have been in trouble before for hurting their own parents. They have behavioral issues. It's documented. Anyway, both are over 6 feet tall and both are over 200 pounds. I'm barely 5'8". And they cornered me and they brought some of their friends along. And that lasted for, I'd say, 4 to 6 minutes. I was terrified. I was scared for my life. So I reached in my bag and defended myself. What would you have done? Probably the same. Actually, I know you would have done the same.
I want to remind you, before you get too ahead of yourself, that white people that are white supremacists let Rick Chow off. White people that are white supremacists locked Karmelo Anthony up. Okay? So while you're out boycotting Vietnamese and Asian businesses, let's not forget that white people still set all of this up for us to blame them, Asians and everybody, when it's still their fault, while they trying to sit in the back and look like, I don't know why they're arguing. Bitch, it's your fault. You did it.
Talk. What up? So they gave that boy 35 years. And I'm here to talk about the solution. I could easily say that you should tear this bitch up or fight back. But that ain't the solution. What's the solution, Brad? It's time that we all start getting involved. Let's take over the government. Let's get involved. Every fucking sector of the government, no matter what age you are. If you are smart or intelligent enough and you're brown like me, it's time to get involved. It's time. City council, do it. Judges, do it. Police, do it. Lawyers, definitely, do it. DAs, do it. Mayors, do it. Governors, do it. Hell, even the presidency. Let's do it. Solution is the key. We can't keep going through the same thing. They want us to fight, but this is the perfect fight. This is the perfect fight. Y'all want us to fight? Oh, we gonna fight. Take every office. Everyone. Let's go.
Listen, bro, to all my black people, we have got to come to the collective understanding and realization that we cannot continue to be civilized with the rest of the world when they treat us uncivil. We cannot continue to extend empathy outside of our own community when the rest of the world gives us nothing but apathy. They need to understand and understand now that there are consequences and repercussions if you decide to try to invoke harm against us as black people, whether that's towards an individual or the community as a whole. And for any person or group that is willing to step up on behalf of the people in the community and make an example out of any motherfucker that wishes to do us harm, we should support them to the fullest extent. For far too long, we have become engulfed in this facade of comfort from our oppressors, and it has watered down our resistance. We didn't give the rest of the world far too much. We didn't gave them the blueprint for resistance. We didn't gave them the culture. We didn't gave them everything that we didn't have. And we still got more to give. But at this point, we need to give to one another. We need to be selfish. And it's okay for us to do so. At some point in time, we have got to realize that we didn't extend it the branch of diplomacy. We didn't extend it grace. We didn't extend it understanding. And we've given the rest of the world more than that than we didn't given ourselves as a people. And we didn't also given the rest of the world more love than we give one another. And we've got nothing back in return. So at this point, we have got to understand that it's better to be feared than to be loved.
Well, good morning and breaking fuck the news. After the fucked up ruling of Mr. Chow, who was found not guilty of killing a 14-year-old by shooting him in the back, and the guilty of Karmelo Anthony yesterday, if it couldn't get any worse, police in Chicago are investigating how a 6-foot burning cross came to be in a park in downtown section of the city on Tuesday. A viral video which is sweeping the internet, taken by a driver showed the cross long associated with the terrorist organization, the coup, engulfed in Grant Park on the shores of Lake Michigan. The Chicago Fire Department later confirmed that they extinguished the cross. Officials have said there are no reports or injuries resulting in the incident. But now Chicago is at fear of a hate crime.
Idea of a smart children.
You know, I said this yesterday, I'm going to say it again, black people. No matter what you do, you say, this wasn't our fight, this isn't our fight. We're 2 years in. We're about to be 2 years in, right? Look at this week alone. Now they're burning crosses. Next, they'll be burning churches. Then they'll be attacking the kids on the street, which they do already, but worse. Then...
This video is for my black people and my black people only. Okay, so apparently the verdict is Karmelo Anthony is guilty. I want to tell you why these are so invested with Karmelo Anthony being guilty. Do y'all see online? It's not about Austin Metcalf. They could give a fuck about him. They don't care about Austin Metcalf. Because I remember when they had that rally for Austin Metcalf, I think they had more cops out there than people. It was only like 15 people out there. And half of them weren't even there for Austin Metcalf. These people are cowards. They cannot attack you straight up. They cannot challenge you head on. They need police backing them. They need the government backing them. They need you to subconsciously feel like, hey, no matter if somebody assault me, attack me, intimidate me, whatever they do, I don't have the right to defend myself. Need you subconsciously thinking that. And this verdict was gonna rest on that. Because think about this. If black people could see on national television that if a white person coming up to you, intimidating you, trying to harm you, and you defend yourself and you get off, oh my God, boy, they couldn't do that. Because boy, that would turn all these bold white people out here, all these bold out here, that shit would change overnight. So they need to always have that right reserved to be able to attack you without you being able to defend yourself. The moment black people start defending themselves, oh man, the United States is gonna go upside down. Don't think just because Karmelo Anthony is guilty that you motherfuckers could just be intimidating and antagonizing people and nobody gonna do nothing, okay? You're not as safe as you think you are. Because I'm gonna tell you something, if one of you racist ass come to me with that bullshit, it's gonna be another Karmelo Anthony case. But this time, it ain't gonna be Karmelo Anthony. It's gonna be me.
Well, I guess he said what he said. Now, let's go to these next few clips. And I agree with that guy who said we need to, get into politics, be police officers, attorneys, and all of that. I absolutely agree. That's exactly what we need to do. That's the only way to start changing anything within the system, which is clearly stacked against us.
Crazy just happened. There are 2 kids.
My mistake. I put up the wrong video. Hold on. Lights up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
Anthony's parents just left the courtroom in tears. Not good for the home team. This is what's interesting under Texas state law. In the civil case, he was 17 when he did it. The parents, out of neglect, are going to be liable. So the parents of Austin Metcalf can get all that money. All that money. Take out that house, they're going to get it all. Yes, thank you, Jesus. Justice.
Number one, I find it funny that these folks become fluent in the law whenever it's involving us, but when it's Orange Man, they act like they goddamn illiterate. Number two, look at this smile right here. It illustrates the consumption of black suffering. It's their entertainment right now. Ha ha, monkeys chipping out, y'all mad. Number three, for all y'all confused, in this visual, only one of these people was found guilty. Can y'all guess which one it was? Number four, how did all the eligible jurors that look like us get dismissed in this trial? Number 5, they say they want to conserve the Constitution. At the same time, they are celebrating that this man did not get judged by his peers. It was all white people. Number 6, the same folks that believe Kyle Rittenhouse was justified with having a at a goddamn rally believe that Carmelo Anthony should have never had a knife on him at a goddamn track meet. This is the most inconsistent logic I've ever seen. Number 7, think about it. While the parents still trying to process this conviction, they already celebrating how they can take something else from this family.
There isn't a black American on earth that is surprised by what just happened to Carmelo Anthony. In a stand your ground state, while standing his ground. Not one black face in that jury box, not one peer.
Keep forgetting I'm muted. Okay. Chad says, look at Belfast, Ireland right now. Someone pulling the strings right now. Yeah, I'm gonna look further into that story, but something about a Sudanese man being charged with attempted murder for a stabbing or whatever. I'll look into it. But thank you for that information, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Not one person who has ever navigated this country in melanated skin. And if you think that doesn't matter, then you haven't been paying attention to the last 400 years of American history. Because you don't want to. This is not new. This is the system working exactly as it was designed. The reason this keeps happening, the reason we keep standing at these grave sites, at these courthouses, at these press conferences with tears and signs and hashtags is because Black America doesn't have any collective political or economic power. When you don't control the legislation, when you don't control who sits on the bench and who draws the jury pool, your outrage, however righteous, does not move this racist machine. Liberation has never been given. It has always been taken. And until Black America builds the kind of consolidated economic and political power that makes the cost of this oppression too high to sustain, we will keep seating all white juries. They will keep shooting us in the back or in our beds while we sleep. They will keep saying they feared for their lives after they do it. Black folks, I need you to stop calling it a boycott. We're not boycotting anything. You need to circulate the black dollar forever for our economic power. It's not a boycott. It's a replacement. We will circulate the black dollar. We will build an infrastructure. We will govern ourselves because we have no choice. This pathetic society will never change. They are still raising their children to be just as racist as they are. Racism is a learned behavior. You understand? Anti-blackness is deeply rooted in every ethnic group, even within our own community. That's what we're dealing with. You want to talk about allyship? Stop trying to infiltrate our organizations and focus on stopping your people, your community, from being racist degenerates. Do the work in your own community. I love you, black man. I love you, black woman. Knowledge is power, power to the people.
In the Carmelo Anthony trial in Texas, the young man was found guilty, and it hurts. I feel as though a knife has been driven right through my heart, and I don't know how I'm going to make it through the day, the week, the month, the rest of this year. I am so disgusted. I thought that we were past this. I was a child during the O.J. Simpson trial. And I remember when he was found not guilty because he acted in self-defense. O.J. Simpson was attacked by his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Ron Goldman, and the jury came through and they said, no, this is an innocent man whose life was in jeopardy, and he defended himself, and that was that. And I thought that was the America that we were in right now, but apparently we're not. Apparently we are in America where no black man is safe. I don't know what to do. I think all we could do now is take it to the streets and protect our brothers and sisters.
Hold on, let me say something right here. Reggie said, Reggie said, what is he talking about? First of all, I can't take him serious. At first, I thought he was showing empathy and sympathy, but then I was like, this all seems, it's given so fake. And then at the end, when he said, we need to take it to the streets, sir, take it to the streets and do what exactly? Start a race war? Is that what you're trying to get at? Like, dude was trying to set us up. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. And here's when I knew that he was on some BS. When he said, I don't even know how I'm going to get through the day, through the week. Sir, you're not that upset, okay? Like, you are not that upset, okay? At the end of the day, like, please sit down somewhere before it's too late. Overthought said, very much giving master troll, okay? And then he said he had me for a few seconds. Me too. Me too. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. Okay, that was so hilarious. POP said fake outrage. Okay, I am done. I am so done. Like Lieutenant Maxwell said, white boy sounds rather performative. That was definitely giving performative. Okay, he needs to stop. And then said, take it to the streets. And what was this? When he held his hand up with that gesture, what was that supposed to mean? But let's continue.
We already got the money set aside for appeals bond. Why? All white jury, the judge and the DA are buddies, along with the dad, best friends. That's been our trump card. We've been holding, already knew that. God has spoken, and you cannot make me believe that as many gray-haired white women on that jury that's dealing with white guilt about going to heaven is not gonna have no compassion about a kid that's been straight A from the time he's ever read a book in school, has no history of violence, has saved children's lives by risking his own life by jumping in to save somebody from drowning. This kid has no violence. Austin, on the other hand, is a violent brute with some sexual rape allegations hanging on his ass. That's why, man, they coerce them kids. But one thing about kids can't lie to professionals under pressure. When you was told, when you gave a statement in the beginning, you can't come back and amend it later and say, well, I meant. No, what you said that night is law. Back up right up. All them white people talking about what they gonna do, they ain't gonna do shit, nigga. They ain't gonna do shit. When Makai Johnson and Galvin Long killed them motherfucking white police officers, you white motherfuckers didn't do a goddamn thing.
Now I want you all to pay attention to all of that pro-black stuff that Charleston White, I guess, thought he was talking. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is he had a white woman in the back seat. Did y'all see that? I absolutely cannot take him serious. Okay, he had a white woman in the back seat. Like, make it make sense. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Here we go.
I need to point out what the fucking prosecutors just said in his closing statements, because this shit, we're in fucking kangaroo court right now. First off, the prosecutor told the jury that if they thought that Austin impaled himself on that knife, I don't know what to tell you. If you think that's the case, find him guilty of manslaughter. The problem is, it is your responsibility to provide proof beyond a reasonable doubt that that didn't happen. And you said that he shoved it into him. Where's the evidence of that? There is no evidence of that. We just know the result. Why is that a problem? Because if you are intending to take another's life, it speaks to your mental culpability, and you needed to intend to do that. And we have no evidence of that. In the opening statements, prosecutor said, we're going to show you guys video of this. The video didn't show shit. And that's why I told you, Karmelo's silence, his defense team didn't say shit about this. It's the most important element. It's the most important moment of the fucking entire case, and there is no evidence, much less proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he shoved it into him. There's no evidence of that. And the prosecutor just admitted that in his closing statements. And then he went on to say another crazy motherfucking thing. He told the jury, like, yeah, Karmelo warned him that he had a weapon. Austin didn't believe him. Karmelo should have brought it out and brandished it. That's essentially what the fuck he said. By the way, 95% of the circumstances, that's going to be felony menacing. It's what I'm facing right now because two dudes tried to roll up on my car and I faked. I faked that I had a weapon, told them to stay the fuck back. And they're like, oh, he had a gun. Felony menacing. Prosecutor in open court just told the jurors that Karmelo was responsible to felony menace these guys before he could stand his ground. I don't know how improper that is. That might be plain air review. That's how bad that fucking statement was. Because it was a complete misapplication of the motherfucking law by the prosecutor. Kangaroo motherfucking court. This shit is crazy, dude. All right.
Okay, he's absolutely right. Okay, no lies detected. He is absolutely right. It was kangaroo court. I mean, from Jeff Metcalf sitting up there nodding his head, trying to instruct the witness of what to say, to the defense attorney not making any objections whatsoever, clearly acting as though he were incompetent when clearly we know that he is not.
All right, shout out to everybody, man, helping me get connected with Karmelo's people. Bro, I got their numbers and all that, bro. I'm just not going to shoot a phone call over there. I would never fucking do that, but I was able to get a letter over to a couple of the advocates that they've been working with for the last year. And I got his entire motion for a new trial done. You guys are like, Jason, what are you going to do? Well, the problem right now, dude, is if they're still being handled by their attorneys aren't even going to tell them about this. You have to file this motion within 30 days. That clock started today. And filing, and it's for ineffective assistance of counsel. So they would have to fire those attorneys because those attorneys can't file it. They can't file a motion against themselves, which means they're not even going to tell them about it. And I promise you, this motion is rarely, if ever, filed this quickly in Texas. And I promise you, 95% of the attorneys out there would be like, you would be crazy to file that. Why? Because they take time. Well, guess what? It's right here. And if they get an attorney and he sees this, he's going to be like, let's go. Guaranteed. This is me at 10%, dude. I did this shit today. You'll pay $25,000 for a motion like this, bro. Take motherfuckers weeks. I don't want no money for this shit, bro. I just want to be able to help. And the universe works as the universe works, man. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If I'm going to be able to help, I'll be able to help.
Okay, with that all being said, Michael says, I'm hearing Karmelo's attorney is friends with prosecutors who are friends with the judge, who is friends with Austin's father. Yeah, we all heard the same thing, beloved. Absolutely, I believe it. I absolutely believe it. They said there's a picture of them at some Christmas party or something. So there was a picture that they said was not the right picture, but they said there's absolutely a picture. So I believe it. It doesn't seem crazy to me or far-fetched because, like I told you all yesterday, Mike Howard, Karmelo Anthony's attorney, services Dallas and Frisco, Collin County. So I really felt like he already had connections and ties to the judge and the prosecutor. Okay. And they all were working together. I mean, because we know darn well this attorney was not doing his best to defend him. No objections out of all that testimony that was given, 21 witnesses for the prosecution, and not one objection. Like, that makes no sense. Okay, that makes no sense. And like Judge Judy always says, if it makes no sense, then it's a lie. Okay, and they were telling a whole lot of lies. They were absolutely telling a whole lot of lies. They didn't show the jury the real video. They didn't show the court the real video.
Oh, what Karmelo is exactly going through, but I went through it. Thought I was going home. Got 32.
Oh, also, beloved, I want to tell you, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, this guy says that he was sentenced to 32 years in prison.
Motherfucking years. Get cuffed up, taken back to the court house holding cells, and a ride over to the jail, man. Take off your suit, get in a jumpsuit, get your cot, go to your cell. And he's gonna sit there and be like, how the fuck did this fucking happen? But I know he's gonna be okay, man. And he's young, bro. I was 30 when I got arrested. But the OGs look out for the younger dudes in there, man. Karmelo's gonna be fine in the prison. And he'll endure this shit. And he's got a lot of outs, depending upon what his family does to try to get this shit fixed. And how quick. But I know he's staring at those 4 fucking concrete walls. Wishing none of this shit happens. A little decision, man. Now he's got sentencing. And he's probably sitting there like, there's no fucking way, bro. They're going to hammer me. I'm going to get 100 years. And the next phase, the sentencing phase, I know all you guys with this judge, bro. There's no pictures of the judge with the family. But we're going to see how just his sentence is. But what should we expect?
Well, we certainly see what the sentence is now. 35 years. Okay, 35 long, hard years at the end of the day. That all being said, let's go to this next video. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. I mean, and then someone asked, I think it was, I forgot who it was, but someone asked, did they handpick the jury? Lurk Squad. Lurk Squad said, so this man out of jail said he went through the same thing as Karmelo. How'd you get free before the age of 60? He likely got paroled, beloved. They offer you parole, okay? They even said that Karmelo would be eligible for parole after about 17 years, the same length of time or the same age that Austin was when he died. Okay, so, which we hope he gets out way before then, but I'm just saying, he likely got paroled. Okay, I mean, we can look at him and see he's no spring chicken. Okay. But you asked another question. It was something else you asked. You said, so they handpicked the jury too. Yes, of course they handpicked the jury. Of course, that's what they always do. They have the voir dire process, which is when they ask the jury a selective amount of questions and whatnot, and to see which ones they're going to keep and which ones they want to strike. So yeah, that's what they do. Nona Jones, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Juries convict Black defendants at a higher rate than they convict white defendants. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. And tonight, my heart is aching for Karmelo Anthony and for his family because there was nothing fair about the trial that he had. When we found out that the jury was all white, I knew at that point that his defense was in trouble. It was difficult for me to look at the coverage of the Karmelo Anthony case because once I knew an all-white jury panel was seated, the outcome felt like it was inevitable. I have to remind my Black son once again that the consequences for him are different than for other people. He can't do what other people do. He can't lawfully carry a gun and expect not to be harmed by police. He can't obey police commands and expect not to be harmed by, and he can't defend himself and expect his defense to be fairly heard by a jury of his peers. Studies show that the presence of a single Black juror decreases the conviction rate of Black defendants. Karmelo Anthony didn't have the benefit of having one Black person on his jury, and you'll never be able to convince me that he had a fair trial. All white juries convict Black defendants at a higher rate than they convict white defendants. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. And tonight, my heart is aching for Karmelo Anthony.
Well, you know, we all pretty much knew it was a wrap when they had the all-white jury. Now, I want to go to a video that Willie D did. Shout out to Willie D. I'm going to use an overlay on this, but Willie D and attorney Dennis Sperling get into a heated debate over Karmelo Anthony verdict. Now, I watched some of this. I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't know at what point they got into an argument because I didn't get that far. I only saw about 5 minutes of it. So we're going to watch a little bit of it because I thought the conversation they were having was interesting and also very much needed. Okay. Jaquari Turner. Sorry, beloved. Okay, says, remember my cousin Vinny? It was funny, but his cousin got caught up in the South and couldn't trust the courts. Vinny won the case because he was connected to Dirty Court. Right, that was a good movie. He was not connected to Dirty Court. Right. Never get a local lawyer. Exactly. And that's what's really disappointing about all of this because Karmelo Anthony's family was very much so able to afford a private attorney, but I don't think they did their due diligence when choosing one. I don't think they checked his credentials. Maybe they did. You know, maybe they picked him. Maybe they chose him because he's the best criminal defense attorney in Dallas for the past 10 years. Maybe that's why they picked him, but yikes. They should have also paid attention to the fact that it says on his bio and it says on his office website that he services the Dallas and the Frisco, Texas area. And they should have thought about that because, like I said, that would have already made me feel like he knows or has some type of relationship possibly with the judge and the prosecutor. And I would have gone elsewhere, chosen somebody who was from a farther away, and someone who had no affiliations to Collin County. So I absolutely agree with you on that, beloved. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, now I'm going to use an overlay for this.
Behind closed doors, Willie D, I'm going to say, you big dummy, why would you pull a knife out and stab somebody just because they pushed you?
Willie D Live.
If I send my son to a track meet on a Saturday morning here in Texas, I don't expect him to come home in a body bag. On the flip side, if I send my son to a track meet, I don't expect to get a call from the jail a couple hours after he leave home telling me he done caught a murder charge. So we have to all agree that this is extraordinary. And I don't mean that in a good sense. I mean, this is unheard of. This is not normal. You see, and now we have to sit back and try to figure out, well, what happened? Okay, and when I go back to the facts of the case, Austin didn't have a gun. Austin didn't have a knife. Karmelo wasn't being stomped out. He wasn't being beaten unconscious. Okay, this was a teenage confrontation under a tent. This is a schoolyard fight and somebody popped up dead. You see, and see, I'm from a different generation, man. You run up on me, you gonna put hands on me, I'm gonna put hands on you. But I know well enough to know that even in some of the worst situations I've been in growing up in LA, man, if I'm in the circle, I'm in the circle. I'm going to get my respect. Now, of course, I'm a grown man now and I have responsibilities, but I'm not going to pull out a blade or a pistol just because I'm getting whooped on or because I'm scared. I'm going to come from the shoulders. I'm going to do what I got to do to protect myself, and I'm going to get my respect. And God willing, I'm going to make them realize don't ever mess with that dude again. But under no circumstances I'm not going to pull out a knife and stab somebody, man. And see, here's the problem, Willie D. I'm a lawyer, but I'm also a father. You see, and I understand there's a racial dynamic associated with this. I get that part. Because see, if the situation was reversed, see, Willie D, if it was a 210-pound black boy,
we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I mean, we might have been here, but it wouldn't be this controversial. I'm with you on that.
If the situation was reversed, we wouldn't even be here. Because the first thing would have happened, they would have said, well, how did it start? What happened? Who started it? Oh, so you're trying to tell me if the 200-pound black boy had not approached the 150-pound white boy, that this would have never happened. He wouldn't be dead. So keep your hands to yourself. I'm in these comments all the time. I'm online all day, every day. And that's all I see when it comes to bullying and people putting their hands on people. Even when women put their hands on men, people collectively say, well, she shouldn't have hit him. She hit him first. And it don't matter what he did to her after that. They say, well, she hit him first. What do you think? What do you think was the most compelling argument for, or the effective argument for the defense that created some reasonable doubt?
I think the fact that he was sitting there minding his business the whole time, that they were able to prove that Austin Metcalf put hands on him first, that he was invited there by the friend who, denounced him as a friend. And that's another thing, and I don't want to get off on a tangent. Yeah. It seems to me, and I know they had 21 witnesses, I get that, or 20 witnesses, but it seems to me like people are trying to distance themselves from Karmelo Anthony. And the reason that they're trying to do that is because in that community, they all have to live there, okay? The judges got to live there. The jury's got to live there. They got to go back into that very same community, and they don't want to be the jurors who acquitted this young man. And I'm only saying what I'm saying, okay? People don't leave their biases at the courthouse door when they walk in. They still have their strongly held beliefs, which includes their religion, their race, their perspective on life. And that's why I go back to the fact that, had the roles been reversed, right? And you had a little white boy sitting there minding his business and some big black kid came and put hands on him. And they would say, well, where was he supposed to go? Out in the rainstorm? They would be, people be making excuses for him. All right. They'll be telling what did that boy say? The black kid, the guy up in Tennessee, they just saying he's imping out. You see what I'm saying? That's what they would have said. They would have made every excuse why this black boy deserved it. I get that. Okay, but that's not the scenario that we have here. You don't get the benefit of the doubt if you're a black person in America, and that has a lot to do with the racial caste system, and we can go into 400 or 500 years of history and science and religion and how it's been used to castigate black people in our image. I get that, okay? But in this particular situation, man, and that goes to a larger thing that black people are often vilified for defending themselves. And I'm going to say that, but that's just true. But the bottom line in this particular case, when we just sterilize this and we look at the law, where was the deadly force justified in this altercation?
If you were sitting on that jury, what would be the single biggest question you still want answered before reaching a verdict?
If I was sitting on the jury, I'm going to read the jury charges. I want to know, because if you don't tell me, well, what I really want to know is the difference between manslaughter and murder, because I'm going to be hurt putting this boy in jail for 20 years. And if there's any way I can, manslaughter, is that available? But then when I look at the actual charge, I'm going to say, well, where was the need for deadly force? And so you slide right back into murder.
Did either side make a mistake, in your opinion, that could have swayed the jury one way or the other? Did they make a mistake, a key mistake, something that was glaring?
We finally moved from California to Georgia, and it was the best decision we ever made, except for one thing.
I don't want to. Well, yeah, I would say the all-white jury, when the prosecutors struck the last 3 black school teachers on peremptory exceptions on the grounds that they were educators and they didn't want them involved. Because what that does is it allows for an appeal of the conviction. And that doesn't mean that Karmelo Anthony won't get convicted. What it means is there's grounds for a new trial. That's what that means. But the Batson, it was too obvious. You have 3 jurors left and you strike all 3 for peremptory charge. That lets me know that you didn't want them there, even though you said it was for non-racial reasons. You said it was because they were educators and they might know something that, you know, that a normal member of the community wouldn't know. But it looks to me like it was a black issue. And so because of that, I would say that opens up grounds for appeal. And the defense preserved that right on the record. That's what I see. That was the glaring mistake on the prosecutor's part.
In all of your years in being a lawyer, have you, and watching your daddy try cases, have you ever seen a white person be judged by an all-black jury? No, I haven't, man.
But that doesn't mean it's not happening.
I'm just saying, like, I just believe that, you know, if you look at history, if you look at history, throughout history, all white jurors have proven themselves mostly to be incapable of giving a black person a fair shot. You know, almost 100% of the time, they're going to ride for the white person, whether that white person is a victim or a defendant. They're going to,
I'm gonna have to push back. I'm gonna go ahead and finish. I'm gonna push back on you. Go ahead. I'm gonna push back.
Okay.
My dad and I had a case in Dallas, and it was an all-white jury. And our client, and I don't like criminal cases. Let me just tell y'all, everybody do not call me if you've been involved in a criminal matter. I don't like them. I have a disdain for them largely because I watched my dad go in and out of court for years, and I just don't like the cases. I don't want to deal with it. You know, and I just don't like dealing with the criminal justice system, whether it's the defendant or the prosecutor, because I already know if I'm a prosecutor, I'm gonna try to put everybody in prison. And if I'm a defendant, I'm not gonna like the fact that I have to defend people that I don't like. I'm just saying, and I know everybody has a right to a defense. I get that. But my dad and I had an all-white jury in Dallas, and they acquitted our client. And it was some really horrendous issues. Basically, it was county court. Dallas has had to be probably 2006 or 2007. A gentleman had been accused of assaulting his former wife. So she came over to pick up her last alimony check, and he gave it to her and put it in her hand. And he said, the judge said that's the last one. So she kept banging on the door, throwing rocks at the door. So he opened up the door and said, "Hey, get away from here." And so what she ended up doing is trying to rush in. So he pushed her out, closed the door, and she immediately called the police on him, saying that he was the one who hit her and assaulted. And of course, if that happens, the police gonna just arrest you, put you in jail, and they'll let the judge sort it out. But we were able to prove with this all-white jury that our client was innocent. The ex-wife had ended up calling, trying to make an insurance claim and all sorts of stuff and recording. And, you know, and so we were able to prove that. We had another case here in Harris County, and
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there, beloveds. Okay, at the end of the day, it's on Willie D's channel if you want to watch the rest of it. But I find that interesting. Now, the situation he was talking about, and saying that an all-white jury found them innocent or whatever, his client. Well, you can't compare that to Carmelo Anthony's case. It's not the same. A man and his wife, that's DV for one. Okay, that's a domestic dispute. And then likely both parties were the same race. So that was not a good example, in my opinion, if that's what he was trying to do. Okay, now Evelyn says, Queen, I'm from a small town in Mississippi. I had a case, and my attorney told me not to worry because he and the judge was going golfing next week. I won the case. My lawyer and the judge were white. Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. It's called the Ghetto Boys Club. Okay, did I say Ghetto Boys? I said that because Willie D is one of the rappers from the Ghetto Boys, clearly. It's funny how my brain worked just then. Like, I literally didn't mean to say that. But it's called the Good Old Boys. I'm going to say it again. It's called the Good Old Boys Club, where you have these white men who they work together in different realms of the criminal justice system, as well as in different realms of the government. Okay, they work together. All right. So yes, many of these judges, defense attorneys, and prosecutors know each other, and they're friendly with one another. Okay, even police officers are friendly with prosecutors. You know, that's how it's easier for them a lot of times to get to get indictments for cases. Okay, so, and even the process by which they determine whether or not someone's going to be indicted is grossly unfair, in my opinion. Because that's why they say prosecutors have that running joke that you can even indict a ham sandwich because it doesn't take much to do. Okay, you can literally indict someone on anything because the prosecutor is the one that's going to bring forward the case for the indictment. The defense, they don't get to even speak or have a counsel or whatever, or that, the defense counsel, they don't get to come in and, refute anything or any of those measures. So anyway, I just find it all interesting. The bottom line is, listen, prayers for Karmelo. I hope that at some point that he gets an appeal and is able to either go back to court or have his case overturned or whatever. But the bottom line is, racism is something that is deeply embedded in people's mindsets. It is something that's in the fiber of their DNA. People who are racist are just that. They don't have empathy and sympathy because they're too busy hating and waiting for another person's demise, specifically another group of people. And that's always us. Okay, there are other races of people that they're prejudiced or racist against, but it's more specifically us. Like, they have a bigger problem with us, period. Now I'm going to go to a couple more videos and then we're going to be out of here. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. And we could talk about some of these studies on another broadcast, but I really want to keep this video under 2 hours. Okay, so let's continue.
To the Karmelo and Cyrus cases going on. White people, if you're ready to have a hard fucking conversation, I need you to stick around for a minute. And really, this is going to apply to the people, the white people that give a fuck about both of these court cases, and the white people that feel like there might be an injustice here, but you're too scared to like internally address this or externally address this with your white family members. I was talking with Royal Star last night on this app. I'm going to tag him in the comments. We were talking last night and he reminded me that me as a white man, I have no space in the grieving process regarding Karmelo and Cyrus because my body represents the thing carrying out the grief, the thing that is responsible for the grief that's happening in the Black community regarding Karmelo and Cyrus. And so I absolutely maintain my position of Carmelo's innocence. That doesn't fucking change. It never will. I'll maintain my position that you cannot chase down a fucking 14-year-old 130 yards, shoot him in the back, and call it self-defense. Right, but here's where the conversation comes in for white people, right? We represent the judge, the jury, the prosecutors, the defense attorneys that are white. We represent the white violence in this country, right? We can't separate ourselves from that white violence. We cannot separate ourselves from the white people that fucking cheer this on, right? There's this idea that like I'm a good white or a non-practicing white. That's not fucking real. And so what does that mean, right? When I see myself in an Austin Metcalf, when I see myself in a jury that directly and violently affects Karmelo and Cyrus, them and their families. Right, we start with accountability. We start with the fact that I consciously know there's two things can be true. I can be fucking angry about the injustice and also understand that I am the perpetrator of the injustice by my body alone. It doesn't matter if I agree or disagree with whoever's involved. That's what I represent walking around in this world. And so what does that require me to do as a white person when these cases come up, when this white violence is expressed? It means that I go talk to my people, right? It means I go address my family. Now, my family already knows where I stand. They've known for years. They already know I'm very, very straightforward. The same way I'm on here, the same fucking way I am with my white family. They know exactly where my head is at. And I've said this before, I'm a white father and husband in a multiracial family, but I cannot use my proximity to my black wife or my black and biracial children or to experience the grief that they might experience or that they are experiencing watching this shit play out. I simply cannot do that within my proximity because I am a fucking white man. And so this is where the hard work comes in, right? Because so many white men specifically, white women also, but white men have like this feral ass, this is going to sound weird, but like sexually violent response to watching black children get fucking destroyed by the system. I've made videos about this before, but this bloodlust that white men have that seems to be never fucking satiated, never fucking fulfilled, unless they see a black person in the black community be violently affected. You can go see any of my videos over the past couple of days and you'll see them in my comments. Again, just being fucking feral. But guess what? This is a time right now when tensions are extremely high, when white people are responding in violence, in this feral excitement, where you, me, the white collective that fucking cares, has to shoot those motherfuckers straight.
Okay, with that all being said, let's go to the next clip. Then we're going to talk about what Cardi B had to say, and then we're out of here. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
He never actually had a right to self-defense. I mean, technically, he did. He's supposed to, but Black American men, women, and children in this country don't actually have that. They are not protected by the law in that way. They are not even protected by the law when they are innocent children just walking home with their snacks and a hoodie on, or they're playing with a toy at the park. Black Americans, despite what the law says, aren't actually given the opportunity to defend themselves because, again, they aren't even given the opportunity to exist safely. So you can tell me that he had a fair trial, and I'm telling you, no, he fucking didn't. He didn't have a fair life. He doesn't have a fair existence. How the fuck could he have a fair trial in a justice system that is not only upholding anti-blackness and white supremacy, but was built to sustain those institutions? Police agencies appear to be much more likely to characterize a killing as self-defense or justifiable when the victim is a Black male. Overall, fewer than 2% of homicides by civilians are classified as justifiable, but in cases when a Black man was killed by a non-Hispanic white civilian over the last 3 decades, almost 17% were ruled justifiable. Examining.
Let me say this. Hold on. D Major says, all of y'all complaining about what that man said. What did you want him to say? Exactly. What do you want him to say? Do you want him to get up there and talk trash and laugh like the MAGA type? What do you want from him? He's expressing empathy and sympathy. If you want to say talk is cheap, what is he going to do? What are we going to do is the question. It's not up to them. It's up to us. Okay, so I don't know what you want or what you're expecting, but the bottom line is we need allies in this world. Whether you want to face that, accept that or not, we do. And you can say, oh, we don't have any allies. I think we actually do. A few, not a lot. But even when we seem to have allies, y'all go in on them. Not all of you, but some people even go in on them. At some point, you have to have allies. That's just how it goes. Okay? Any successful movements that Black people have ever had in this country, they did so with white allies. That's a fact. The civil rights movement, even slavery, when they were escaping through the Underground Railroad, there were white people who allowed these slaves that were on the run to hide in their homes at the risk of their own peril. Okay? So Rolling Thunder said, what allies do we have? I mean, we have a few. Not a lot. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But when people are trying to act as allies, just let them do it. I mean, at the end of the day, wait and see, but watch, of course. You can't just be trusting everybody. I mean, like that man who came out with that ridiculous video that was clearly performative. And I'm not talking about him. We could all see that he was full of crap, okay? And clearly trying to invoke violence, which is not what we're about. We're going to boycott. But anyway, that's all I'm saying. Honey. Y'all can think what y'all want. Some of you tickle me. You really do.
Data sets from the FBI, reporters found that police label killings of Black males by white people justifiable more than 8 times as often as others, and this racial disparity persists across cities, different ages, different weapons, and different relationships between killer and victim. In contrast, in cases where a Black civilian killed a white person, just 0.8% were ruled justifiable. This boy, this adorable boy, was murdered by police because he had a toy. A grand jury declined to even indict the 2 men responsible for his murder. The United States Department of Justice said that it did not condone the officers' actions, but there was not enough evidence to charge them with a crime. Tamir Rice being gone for doing nothing but being a fucking child wasn't enough evidence for them to charge them with a fucking crime. We just found out that Rick Chow will walk free after chasing Cyrus Carmack Belton out of his store for allegedly stealing a bottle of water. He shot him in the back. He shot this boy, this baby boy. Do not tell me that Carmelo Anthony was given a fair fucking shot, not only in that trial, but at that school and in life. Don't fucking tell me that. I am heartbroken for all of the families involved. I'm heartbroken for a family mourning the loss of their son. I'm heartbroken for the family of Carmelo Anthony and for Carmelo Anthony himself, for all of the reasons I just mentioned. This is a fucking disgrace. Nobody actually wins, because every time we do this, every time white America, every time the white nationalist, white supremacist justice system and police and government do this, we lose more of our humanity. Carmelo Anthony never actually had a
Rolling Thunder said clout chasing and pandering. I mean, she could be, she could be. Maybe she is. But at the end of the day, she also could be very heartfelt and serious. There is a man by the name of John Hines. John Hines is a white man who was killed in what they call the first political assassination. The reason John Hines was murdered, killed, assassinated is because he spoke in front of a group of people, mostly white. But nonetheless, there were a few Black people sprinkled in. This was in the 1800s. And when he addressed them, I think it was the 1800s. Let me just double check. I always feel like they should make a movie about this man. Let me just see here just to be sure. Let me see here. Okay, it was 1868. Okay, so it was after slavery. So campaigning for Republican candidate Ulysses S. Grant in the 1868 presidential election, Hines was threatened and targeted by the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, in October of 1868, while traveling to a political meeting with John Brooks in Monroe County, Hines was shot to death by Klansmen. Now, these Klansmen shot Mr. John Hines. And let us remember, because the Republicans back then were black, because he was campaigning for Republican. Well, anyway, with that all being said, bottom line is John Hines was killed because when he addressed the crowd, he basically addressed them as my fellow countrymen. And there were some black men in the audience. And so he showed them, as the other white people felt like he showed the black men in the audience the same amount of respect that he showed the white men, and they didn't like it. Okay, they didn't like it. So someone took it upon themselves to shoot him. And he lay there dying. No one attended to him, tried to give him any type of aid or anything. And he wrote in his blood before he died, tell his wife, Sarah, I believe that was her name, and his children, his 2 daughters, that he loved them. So was he clout chasing and pandering? I'm just wondering. Okay, I mean, some of you might refuse to believe there's actually a few good white people in this world. I know you don't believe that, especially now you don't want to, but there actually are. Okay, the white guy that filed the paperwork to give to Karmelo's families for them to help them get a new attorney and all of that. You don't think maybe he's serious? You think he's clout chasing and pandering? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're clout chasing and pandering to the point that you're going to sit up there and type up all that paperwork in one day to help somebody that you don't even know, well, I would say that's going to the extreme, and I don't believe that's what that was. That's just my opinion, though. That's just my 2 cents. Everyone is entitled to theirs. Okay, so now let's continue moving right along. Okay, moving right along. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Since the verdict came out in the Cyrus Carmack Belton case. And now members of the Black community are calling for a boycott of all Asian-owned businesses. Now, remember, Rick Chow was a store owner who killed 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton in 2023. So that's where the calls for boycotting are coming from, because Rick Chow was a store owner. He doesn't own the gas station in South Carolina anymore. Someone else does. I spoke with Dr. Jamal Bryant about what he thought about the boycott. And if you remember, he also led a boycott of Target last year after the DEI policies were rolled back by the company.
A post out about an hour ago where an Asian person is saying he almost dares the community to boycott, that there'd be nothing they'd be able to do because they own the dry cleaner, own the liquor store, own the corner store, that the Black community is almost dependent.
I love when the Black community says, let's boycott Asian businesses. Please do. We'll get rid of the Chinese takeout, the dry cleaners, the laundromats. Let's get rid of the liquor stores as well. Get rid of.
We've heard him plenty of times at this point. Now, the thing is, I wanted you all to hear that Pastor Jamal Bryant's calling again for another boycott, and he's absolutely right. We've already started the Asian boycott, and it's being effective. It looks like there's nobody going to their businesses. The people that are posting videos of their businesses, they're for the most part empty. I went out myself yesterday not to see that, but as I was out, I did look at a couple of nail salons in a plaza that I was passing through, and there was nobody there. Yikes. They looked like they were closing up early. Okay, so please pay attention. And I would have videotaped it, but, I didn't really want to have a conversation with the lady who was shutting it down, closing up the door and stuff, because I know she was looking at me so hard, like, she knew that I was looking with glee, clearly that there was nobody in there. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so if I started recording, she probably would have said something that I'd have said something. So, but anyway, let's continue.
Carmelo Anthony defense, I've seen something like this before in person, but I was able to put a stop to it. Thank God for the defendant. A good friend of mine, when we were around 24 years old, got charged with a serious felony, and he was looking at 25 years in prison. Now, they didn't have a lot of evidence against him, but he didn't have much of a defense either. And he calls me one day from court. Now, he had paid a lawyer $15,000. And he calls me one day from court and he's freaking out. He's like, hey man, I don't understand what's going on. He's like, they said that trial starts tomorrow. And I said, excuse me? How do you not know that trial starts tomorrow, bro? Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I go, your lawyer hasn't even spoke to me. I was a witness in the case. And he's like, right? I go, who has your lawyer spoken to? What kind of investigation have they done? He's like, I don't know. And he's like, please, let me talk to your dad. Let me talk to your dad. My dad was a former judge. I handed the phone to my dad. And he tells my dad, yeah, I don't understand what's going on. You know, what should I do? And my dad says to him, listen, I'm not your lawyer. I can't give you legal advice. But what I can tell you is that if you go to trial tomorrow, make sure you bring your toothbrush because you're going to prison. And he's like, what? He's like, it appears your lawyer has not mounted any kind of defense or done any work, you know, to not talk to witnesses. Sounds like your lawyer's throwing you to the wolves. So he went in there and in open court fired his lawyer, asked for continuance. I ended up going and helping him find a new lawyer who did a wonderful job, and he got acquitted. Yeah. So Carmelo Anthony's case reminds me of this. There were no adults in the room to tell him, bro, we don't have a defense here. We need to plea bargain. Like, this isn't going to work. And instead, they just let the prosecution run roughshod all over them for days and then mount a 4-hour defense. Shame on his attorneys. So this Carmelo.
And he's absolutely right. I mean, he was definitely inadequate counsel. And I hope they have fired that man. They don't need to try to get that attorney. They don't need to try to get that attorney to file any sort of appeal, because he's going to tell them they can't get one, that it's going to be denied, or he'll make sure that it is denied by the way that he files it. They can't use him if they're going to file an appeal based on inadequate counsel, which is exactly what they had, inadequate counsel. Okay, so they definitely need to fire him. I hope they already have, because he did a piss poor job, period. And he did it on purpose. He absolutely had to have done that on purpose. You don't just win best criminal defense attorney in Dallas 10 years in a row and you're trash. And you don't even make it a single objection in the 21 witnesses that are called to the stand, who are being asked crazy things that they couldn't even really substantiate because they're kids, they're not experts. Okay, so just crazy. Absolutely egregious. Now, one more video, then we're out of here.
I've never been to the South. What is the pew-pew culture like in the South? Because everybody's saying, why did Cyrus have a pew-pew, right? I'd like to know, what is that culture like? Because in one of my videos, under the comment section, there was a woman there that lived in the South that explained why, he had a pew-pew. That it is, parents give it to their kids for birthdays, for holidays. It is a huge community of people that own those things in that area. So let's educate people. We're blaming this boy for his own demise, right? What is the pew-pew culture in the South? As a New Yorker who's not educated in these things, what is it like? As a New Yorker, I've never been to.
Okay, now, but it is what it is, says Brian Steele or Joe Taco is who he needs. You mean Joe Taco Pina, beloved? That's who you mean, Joe Taco Pina. Okay, but yes, absolutely. But here's the thing. He probably can't afford them. Those are celebrity attorneys for celebrity clients. Okay. And then as far as us donating, I don't even know how we can donate at this point because he's already been convicted. And they're holding the money that we previously donated. Supposedly, I think they already refunded it. Somebody said, I don't know if it's true, but somebody said they already had started dispersing the refunds of that money. So with that all being said, listen, we all should have expected exactly what we got. You know, I knew that he was going to be guilty, especially when I saw that they had no Black people on the jury, and the way that it was going with the prosecution, the lying witnesses, the defense half-ass doing their job purposely and all that. Well, I knew it was going to be a bad outcome, but I was hoping that it wouldn't be any more than 10 years. Because even if it was 10 years, he could have got out in 5, possibly. I know that he didn't deserve any time because it absolutely 100% was self-defense. Okay, period. We know that if it had been the shoe on the other foot, it would have been a whole different story. If it had been Austin who stabbed Karmelo and 4 black guys standing over poor little Austin as he sat there holding his backpack and telling them, touch me and see what happens, they absolutely would have gotten him off. He would never have been arrested. It would have immediately been deemed self-defense. On the replay, because I have to edit it, somebody played music. One of those videos, they played music at the end. It sounded like James Brown's music or something. So I'm going to have to edit it, okay? My goodness, you all, I'm really going to have to edit that part out. And some people are going to miss it. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention Cardi B. I saw somebody put it in the chat. Okay, and I even added that to the title. So let me get into it. I do apologize. Okay, thank goodness some 700 of you are still here. Okay, 300 tipped out. So here's the thing. Cardi B criticizes, this is what the report says. Cardi B criticizes Carmelo Anthony verdict after Texas jury imposes 35-year sentence. Okay, and then she got backlash, okay, because people were talking trash. Okay, so rapper Cardi B ignited a firestorm on social media Tuesday night after denouncing the murder conviction and the 35-year prison sentence handed down to Carmelo Anthony, okay, the Texas teenager who fatally stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet last year. So a Collin County jury deliberated for about 3 hours before reaching its unanimous verdict, finding Anthony guilty of murder. The verdict was read by Texas District Court Judge John Roach Jr. and could have carried a maximum of 99 years. Okay, Anthony was 17 at the time, but Texas law allowed him to be charged as an adult. He's now 19. Frisco police were called to the Q Kendall Stadium at about 10 a.m. We already know that. I'm going to skip past all of that. But so basically, following the verdict, Cardi B posted on X her reaction, writing to say, wow, just freaking wow, disgusting. This is not justice. This is trying to make an example. Okay, the Grammy Award winning rapper also shared posts supporting Anthony, including messages claiming he deserved better and criticizing what supporters viewed as efforts to damage his reputation. Okay, now the post generated significant engagement on social media. The backlash was swift. Tommy Lauren, okay, she's definitely MAGA, a Fox News political commentator, fired back on X saying, yes, the example is don't stab somebody in the chest. Thanks for playing. Okay, then Zeke Arkham, a former New York Police Department officer and host of the Reasonable Suspicion podcast, also replied, trying to make an example, yes, Cardi, stabbing people is bad. We should make stabbing people as unattractive as possible. Might cause people to think before they stab someone. Well, he's a fine one to talk, and so is Tommy Lauren, since it's their people who commit all the hate crimes for the most part. Now, following the verdict, Metcalf's parents and his twin brother delivered emotional victim impact statements addressing Anthony directly. During the sentencing phase, Anthony's mother, Kayla Hayes, testified and asked the jury for mercy, saying that her son was very, very sorry for what he did. Following the sentencing, Austin's father, Jeff Metcalf, held an emotional press conference outside the Collin County Courthouse, forcefully defending his late son's memory against public backlash and revealing the family had been targeted by multiple swatting calls. I don't believe they were targeted by swatting calls. They didn't record any of it or post any evidence online trying to act as though Black people are attacking them. I don't believe it, because that's what they do when these situations are reversed. And even when they're not reversed, even when they win, they're still attacking Black people or going in on us, not the other way around. Okay, so anyway, Cardi B is catching hell for daring to say anything positive about Carmelo Anthony. Now, however, it did not say that she offered to pay for his appeal, as someone mentioned. I don't know where that rumor came from, but I haven't found any support reports to substantiate that claim. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the broadcast. I love you all to life, and I will talk to you all again soon, beloveds. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got